This is Dr. Lou Sella, sport and performance psychologist, and today we're outside of Misericordia University here in Dallas, Pennsylvania. This is their brand new dome. Yep, they have a dome. They're a Division III school with a dome. I live about 15 minutes from here. Both my parents are graduates of this school. They've had football for about 10, 12 years. Used to be an all-girls school back in the day when my father went here, and it was right after they started letting males in the school. Now they have a dome. Rats had their football field here on an early Sunday morning. So, all right, so what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about spending 80% of our practice time in camp getting good at zone dive and midline triple option. Now, I've talked about zone dive in recent years and getting good at that, but getting good at midline triple. Look, here's the bottom line. Air Force runs midline triple anywhere from 4 to 7 times a game over the last 5 years. So you say to yourself, well, that's what we should be doing in terms of practice distribution. So last year, Air Force averaged midline triple option 5 times a game. So if you run 48 plays a game, that means it should be somewhere around 10% of your practice. And you say to yourself, well, that we should be practicing about 10% of the time. Well, here's the thing. You got to account for the variables. Midline triple option is an expensive concept because there's 3 phases to it. There's a dive phase, a keep phase, and a pitch phase. In addition to that, for the play side A-back, he's got to identify whether it's a load scheme, an arc scheme, or if there's double run support, a tackle scheme where he tells the tackle you got to pull and block one of the people on the perimeter. So midline triple option can be a very expensive play. So I'm going to make the case to spend 80% of your time in camp on zone dive and midline triple option. This way you get up to a good start. You practice all the situations. And what ends up happening is by the time you get to the season, you can start to level it out with everything else. Unfortunately, all concepts are not equal. Now, zone divers run 20 times a game. Midline, on average, is about 5 times a game. Traps about 5 times a game. And the toss is about 5 times a game. So basically, what ends up happening is you say, well, we should be running trap and toss as much as we should be running mid-triple. But the variable in that is midline triple option is a 3-way play. It just requires more work. So during camp, if you want to go with the 40-40-20 principle during camp where 40% of the time you run zone dive, which is about how often you're going to run zone dive in a game, 40% of the time you're going to practice mid-triple, which makes sense because 20% of what you do gives you 80% of your results, which is zone dive and mid-triple, and then spend 20% of your time on everything else. Totally understandable. Because trap doesn't take that much work, neither does toss. The passing game is the passing game. You're going to throw on average 5-10 times a game doing this. If you throw more than that, you're probably losing. So I'm making the case today. Spend 80% of your time in camp practicing zone dive and midline triple option. Because that way you're going all in on the things that matter. And if you can get good at those 2 things, zone dive and then basically your answer for when number 1 takes the B back and you don't get 4 yards on zone dive, and you get real good at answering that problem, you're on your way. So I'm making the case here today on this beautiful Sunday morning looking at the dome at Misericordia University. And coaches, if you want to win big in 2024, pick up the phone and give me a call. My number's on the thumbnail of this video, so is my website. Triple Option Football Academy and Triple Option Football Academy camps are going to show you how. Go to tripleoptionfootball.com/testimonials, where you can see all the success stories that have come from the camps and the academy. And I'll see you in the next video. We'll talk soon.